Jerry Jones seems to be finally getting pushback for the way he's run the franchise. The Dallas Cowboys owner and general manager recently did a radio appearance with 105.3 The Fan after the Cowboys' demoralizing 47-9 loss against the Detroit Lions. When asked direct questions about the constructed roster and his inactivity during the offseason, Jones got defensive and insinuated that he could threaten the jobs of the on-air personalities. Technically, Jones can't do that as the talent of 105.3 The Fan aren't employed by Jones, but also, they did nothing wrong. All they did was ask Jones reasonable questions any team supporter would have. Before his appearance on air, Jones has been in the crosshairs of the fan base more than usual, asking for Jones, the general manager, to be fired. While there's credence to Jones' job as general manager needing to be under scrutiny, let's understand from his perspective why he would be so defensive of his actions as general manager. For starters, since purchasing the team, he has won 3 Super Bowls and has been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame while having a franchise worth $11 billion and the most visible brand in sports. To many, it's a crowning achievement. Yet, for the core football fans, those are relics of the past and superficial accolades that only benefit Jones and his family. Take AT&T Stadium, for example. Nearly everything about the stadium and its artwork is in homage to himself and his family. It's easier to see why Jones, now at 82 years old, would be content, if not combative, of his standing as owner and general manager of the team. Aside from Mike Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals, no other owner in the NFL occupies a similar role as an owner and is heavily involved in football operations. Also, what other owner holds court among reporters weekly after their team has played? Likely because of his success, sometime in the last 15 years, Jones, the general manager, got complacent. Worse, he was able to sell to a large faction of the fans that his complacency was justified and the best direction for the team. The Cowboys have an aversion to free agency and refuse to sign external help at the top of the market price. Everyone can point to the last time the Cowboys spent a hefty penny on a free agent, and that was when they signed Brandon Carr to a 5-year, $50 million contract. Since that transaction, the Cowboys have taken a back seat in free agency, opting to supplement their roster with lesser talent at a much cheaper cost and relying on the draft to get the most out of their roster. Fire Mike Zimmer as defensive coordinator. If you were disappointed with me saying Jones wouldn't fire McCarthy, perhaps this will win you back some. There is a chance that the organization will cut ties with first-year defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer during the season. Do you remember what the narrative was when Zimmer joined the Cowboys coaching staff this offseason? It was details, physicality, and impassioned performance. Has that really taken shape? Dallas has looked the opposite of all three at points during this season. Lacking in the details, unable to out-physical an offense, and playing without any fire. Zimmer was not brought in on a long-term commitment. The hope was he could make a big impact in a small amount of time on a defense that needed to improve in his areas of strength. With that seemingly not happening, why should Dallas not pivot with the future in mind? If this season keeps going the way it is, McCarthy is not going to be brought back, and a new head coach is not keeping his predecessor's defensive coordinator. Why not give somebody else the keys in hopes of invigorating the defense and seeing if you have somebody who could be in the running for the head coaching job this offseason? Cowboys trade proposal adds former NFC starter to replace Ezekiel Elliot. Tired of hearing just how poorly constructed the Cowboys' running game is? Weary of lamenting the foolish decisions made by doddering owner Jerry Jones this offseason, including the complete failure to pursue Derrick Henry, who would have welcomed a chance to play for the Cowboys if only they'd carved out room for his modest contract? It's hard to blame you, but too bad. It's all still true. The Cowboys' ugly running game is hardly the only piece of the disappointing puzzle that the early season has been, but it is emblematic of the way this franchise appears to have failed its offseason. Other mistakes were made, but none as easy to grasp as the fact that the Cowboys let Tony Pollard leave in free agency and replaced him with an older, broken version of Ezekiel Elliot. Don't expect a Cowboys home run swing to fix the running back room ahead of the trade deadline on November 5th. The Cowboys are decidedly reluctant to make in-season trades, and while most of the would-be deals concocted in all corners of the internet are sensible, they're unlikely. Owner Jerry Jones has deluded himself into a certainty that he has put together a good team, no matter the evidence to the contrary. So, even a well-reasoned and modest trade proposal for a running back that is very much available ahead of the deadline is a long shot. Still, ESPN's Bill Barnwell has put one together that oozes with good sense. Cowboys would have to axe Ezekiel Elliot. In his column this week titled, "The 12 Deals We Want to See at the NFL Trade Deadline," DeAndre Hopkins, Bryce Young on the move, Barnwell pegged the Cowboys adding Bears running back Khalil Herbert as one of the possibilities. Herbert is a fifth-year back who has had some decent seasons in Chicago as part of what was a running back committee that actually had talent on hand. He's no star, but he would be an upgrade over the Cowboys' current trio of Elliott, Rico Dowdle, and Deuce Vaughn. Here's what Barnwell wrote about the trade pitch. There's no Derrick Henry lurking as an immediately impactful back, but what about adding another set of fresh legs to compete with Dowdle? Herbert is probably not the sort of back to shoulder a workload of 20 carries per game, but among the 46 players with 300 carries or more between 2021 and 2023, his 4.9 yards per carry average ranks 7th. Adding a running back most likely means the end of the line for Elliott, because the Cowboys are very unlikely to keep 4 halfbacks, plus Hunter Luepke at fullback. Someone would have to take the fall, and though Elliott is a well-liked teammate, he'd be the best bet. Khalil Herbert is odd man out. Herbert is talented, a former 6th-round pick in 2021. He ran for 611 yards on 132 carries last season, for an impressive average of 4.6 yards per rush. But the Bears have a running back crunch, and free agent signee DeAndre Swift is getting more run these days. It's not hard to get more run than Herbert, actually, who has just 8 carries for 16 yards on the year. That's something of which the Cowboys should take note. Any underused, impending free agent running back on another team's roster should warrant a call from Dallas. Herbert is not designed to be a chief load bearer in any competent running game, but he can chew up carries and break off chunk runs. The Cowboys are lacking that element. Ranking 28th in success rate suggests Herbert was hitting big plays as opposed to racking up steadier gains, but the Cowboys' longest run of the season has gone for 12 yards, Barnwell wrote. Herbert had 24 runs for 13 or more yards during his first 3 seasons with the Bears. Some explosiveness wouldn't hurt, even if he would only become a part of the rotation.